This is the Forever Podcast, and we are giving you a fly on the wall perspective of conversations that we have on a regular basis, to be honest.
Every day.
We talk about our marriage, we talk about life, we talk about perspectives, we talk about all those things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
And so we really wanted to just give you all a fly on the wall perspective of the things that we talk about and the things that we experience.
Yeah.
And it's a great storytelling experience, but it's also really good for us. It's therapy.
Yeah, definitely, most definitely. We love just just being vocal about it. For the most part, we're not the most perfect communicators. I know I'm damn sure not. She's more of a communicator than I am.
Yeah.
So,
but you're doing good. You've been
I've
working on
got
it.
a lot better for
You've
sure. From what 11 years ago, But so what we talking about today?
11 years
What are
ago.
we talking about today?
Today's episode is something that we've honestly just been really thinking about a lot lately, talking about a lot lately. Yeah, get comfortable, babe.
Yeah.
So this is new for us. So I love that you said you're trying to get comfortable.
Yeah.
Because this is new for us. We are really setting this up to be something that you all would enjoy, but also that we would enjoy. Reese, please.
Reese, get down, buddy.
Reese, please.
Down.
Reese, please. We need you to calm down. The kids can't be in here, so you can't either.
But
okay.
So yeah, so
out.
The topic of today.
Out.
We were thinking about it earlier today, and it's crazy that we are talking about. So the topic is boundaries.
Boundaries. Setting boundaries. How to set them. Yeah. When to set them. Who to set them with.
And this is just not marriage too, right? Or is it just marriage, or is it friends? Boundaries with family members. Which direction you want to go?
So I think that when we think about how we are going to talk about setting boundaries, we want to ensure that we can talk about setting boundaries for your relationship. And when you set those boundaries, it's going to be set for friends, family, outside boundaries. So you set boundaries for work. You set boundaries for your outside relationships that are outside of your marriage, right? Or your relationship. Because I think that it's important for us to really talk about marriage and relationships and going forward with this conversation.
Yeah, I agree. So let's see. So in your opinion, what do you think will happen? Oh, so you have some stuff you want to read?
Well, no. I don't have anything I want to read, but I will say that today when we were talking about it, I was bringing it up to him again because we were having conversations about it, and I did a little research, right? And I found the perfect, I guess kind of like list. It's a listicle article about the things that talk about the types of boundaries that you need to set in your relationships. And it talks about the benefits of setting boundaries in your relationship. So why it's important to what it'll do for your marriage and your relationship.
Okay. Gotcha.
So the types of boundaries that you want to set in your relationships, the list of it is emotional boundaries, intellectual boundaries, physical boundaries, sexual boundaries, time boundaries and communication boundaries, and material boundaries.
I know so many boundaries like
that.
Okay.
Right.
So where you want to start with that?
Okay. I don't know. Where you want to start?
Let's start with what's the first on the list?
Emotional boundaries.
Emotional boundaries. Okay. Let's go with that one.
Okay.
Let's start with that one.
So it says emotional boundaries protect each partner's right to have their own thoughts, feelings, and values.
Okay.
And it protects their rights to do that without them being belittled, ridiculed, or invalidated.
Okay.
Oftentimes, we feel our partner's emotions or feelings are our responsibilities, and it's important to set emotional boundaries to distinguish what is and isn't in our control.
Okay.
So that's from verywellmind.com.
Okay.
Verywellmind.com. Okay.
So, what does that mean to you? Because it takes me. I'm the person that likes to sit for a while and process it, think about it, put it in perspective, and put scenarios to it. You're more of a quick thinker when it comes to stuff like that. So, what does emotional boundaries are? So what is an emotional boundary example in this sense? What would that be?
So when I think about that, I think that lately we have talked a lot about values, morals, and things like that, and what those things are for us as a married couple, as two parents who are raising a family, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, and I have to be honest with myself and with y'all,
Mm-hmm.
I've crossed those boundaries a lot when it comes to the needs of our family. But that is because when I think about us as a young couple, a couple who got married young, and the things that I was seeking and I sought out for myself, that didn't quite align with what we were seeking and sought out for us as a married couple.
Okay.
So when I think about that, I think about like those times where we kind of talked about those important celebration days, right? Like a birthday or a holiday.
Okay.
And whenever, like, okay, so I say, for example, Mother's Day or my birthday.
Okay.
Right? And if somebody says, I want to celebrate that day with you, like, I want to make sure that you feel special because you haven't been able to do that. Right?
Okay.
And then for me, that meant like, oh, without my family, without y'all, without my husband, without my kids.
Yeah.
And so then that would be like, oh, okay, so we're gonna go out and we're gonna do something that I would enjoy, which is
like you and the
probably
family and all the homegirls, something like that.
me and the homegirls,
Okay.
or me and my sisters, or either way, it was grown up activities without the kids and my husband.
Okay.
Or even without the kids, and so when I think about that, I think about really like the morals and values that we have as a family. Right? The things that we celebrate for me and you.
Yeah.
The things that we value for ourselves and our marriage. So when I think about those emotional boundaries, I think about those times where those things made it like, but I should be celebrating with my husband. I should be celebrating with my family. I don't know why this is the first thing that comes to mind, but for me, this is a major thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that resonates with you, but this is an example for me. And so morals and values being an important thing when it comes to emotional boundaries.
Man, so I'm still trying to like understand what you. So for me, I always thought boundaries meant me setting a boundary for other people. So are you saying that this is a boundary that you set for yourself, or for yourself and yourself only, or for yourself and other people too?
Okay, so when I think about setting boundaries, I feel like internally and individually, a person should set boundaries, but those boundaries need to extend to other people, right? So if I say, this is just hypothetically speaking, because this is not me, but if I say, I'm not drinking anymore, right? That's a boundary that I'm setting for myself. But it has to extend to the idea that, okay, well, maybe I don't want to hang out with so-and-so anymore because I know that when we get together, all we do is drink. But because I'm setting that boundary with myself, it has to extend to other people.
Yeah.
Or if I say, I like to wash my hands a certain way, like it's just a certain thing that it's like I'm setting boundaries internally. So when I set those boundaries to say, this is what I will and will not accept, or this is what I will and will not do, it has to extend to other people to say, maybe I have to only hang out with them at breakfast time. Because I know for somebody else, it would be like,
y'all
I
still
know
can do breakfast mimosas.
I can. I can do mimosas for breakfast. I can do mimosas for brunch.
Right. So
I can do sunrises for lunch.
yeah, I know it. So to piggyback off of
Cabernet
that,
for dinner.
the problem that I have, I wouldn't say it's a problem. I would say the challenge I have with boundaries is that I don't have a problem setting boundaries, but I do have, but it is a challenge for me to not let anyone down in the midst of me setting boundaries.
So enforcing those boundaries.
Enforcing it, I feel like it's either hot or cold. It's either I'm not going to enforce the boundaries, or that's cold, or when I'm hot, I force those boundaries, and for the most part, I think people may get offended by it.
That's crazy that That you relate that to temperature.
Yeah. Cause I mean, cause I'm either hot or cold. I'm either not upset or I'm angry. I'm trying to figure out how do you set those boundaries, especially with your family, your loved ones, friends that you really care about, without rubbing them the wrong way, or is that a part of setting boundaries? Some of you just gonna rub the wrong way. I guess you just gotta set those boundaries and um, not so much not care, but just be mindful that in the midst of you setting those boundaries, it can definitely offend someone, and it possibly could be temporarily. So I would say, just to piggyback off, the relationship thing with other friends, in the beginning of our marriage, all the homies would ask me to go to the club, go this and that, blah, blah, blah. And, it's not that I wasn't not going to the club because I'm married or whatever. But in a sense, it was. That's just an environment I just didn't want to put myself in. And then, of course, the homies got upset with it a little bit. But over time, shit, they just stopped asking me to go. It's funny about that too, because I'm like, man, when I see them out, you didn't ask me to go out to the club, man. Like, damn, man, nobody, they on the beach and everything, kicking it with everybody. So I don't know, that's my challenge with setting boundaries. So, and that's funny we talking about that today, because this week that's one of the main topics that me and my therapist was talking about, just setting that boundaries with family, friends, especially the close ones, close loved ones too. So so I understand that. So with the emotion, so what's the other one? It's emotional, and then there's another one. You said
there was emotional boundaries, intellectual boundaries. They protect your partner's thoughts and opinions.
Okay.
So an example would be agreeing to disagree while respecting each partner's right to their own opinion.
So that's a thing. I always say agree to disagree, and you hate that.
I hate that.
Why do you think that is?
Okay.
Why do you think that
is? I feel like when you are in a conversation or a disagreement, for that matter.
Okay.
We are disagreeing. So when somebody tries to end the conversation with, let's just agree to disagree.
I don't think it's so much as ending. It's just like we're not getting to an end point, and
you ending it.
That's not so much. It's concluding it. I would say.
What's a conclusion, baby?
A conclusion is a friendly pause. Well,
it's an ending.
I guess
if you write an essay,
I think the way
your last paragraph starts with "in conclusion," which means I'm ending this off by saying.
But okay, so what's the first line of the conclusion paragraph? What's it called?
In conclusion.
No, there's a specific name for it.
Introductory sentence of the conclusion paragraph.
Okay, think about it. You say in conclusion, and then boom, 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 boom. You have 3 or 4 other
introducing the ending of this argument. And arguments don't have to be a bad thing.
No.
Because they talk about argumentative essays and argumentative, debates.
Yeah.
And I feel like when somebody try to shut you up.
That's not a shut up, though, bro.
You looked at me because you wanted me to say it. You knew I was about to say it.
What? No, because go ahead, because I'm a go ahead.
When somebody says, let's just agree to disagree, I'd be like, if that's your way of saying I ain't trying to hear you out.
But that's no. That's how you take it.
It is. It's my perspective.
Yeah, but so if you're saying we're not supposed to end the conversation, do we keep talking about the same thing over and over, or what? Because
so that's the problem.
After so long, it's just like we're not really, So
my issue is this: I always feel like when somebody says, "Oh, we're gonna agree to disagree on that," that's your way of saying I ain't trying to hear your perspective. Or
no, not necessarily.
But listen. But it is though, because think about it.
No.
Think about this, baby. Okay. Think about this. When somebody say, we're just gonna agree to disagree on this, that's really their way of telling you, I ain't trying to hear what you're talking about. I said what I said. That's my perspective. And I want the people to let me know if they agree.
So what you're saying is, until someone agrees with you, that's when the conversation ends.
No.
So how does the conversation end if you guys truly don't agree? how do you end that conversation?
So, have you ever paid attention to when we have even our disagreements or just like, friendly debates? And because I feel like it's rarely ever an argument. It's typically I'm gonna understand your perspective, you understand mine.
Yeah.
And how I always say, I understand, I get that. I get why you feel that way. Right?
Okay.
I feel like when people don't look at it and they're not saying, hence why I never end a conversation with, we're going to agree to disagree. You know why I don't?
Why?
Because I feel like my objective is to understand you. My objective is to understand where you're coming from. My objective is to learn your perspective, learn why you feel the way you feel or saying what you're saying. So when I say that, I get what you're saying. I understand that. You know what? I didn't even think about it that way. Most times, that's how our conversations end, right? For me.
For you, I'll say yeah. For the most part,
I think our conversations end on your end. Like, we're gonna agree, disagree, because I don't agree with that. But that's just me. That's how you say it.
Nah, I definitely don't do it. Now you're making it seem as if it's super aggressive. That's not the case.
I didn't say that.
Well, that's kind of how you just put it out.
Well, you say we're gonna agree, disagree. That's what you say.
So to go back to boundaries, where we at? The agree to disagree. So the article said it's okay.
Agreeing to disagree while respecting each partner's right to their own opinion is an example of an important intellectual boundary. So, according to the article, you are setting boundaries in a healthy way.
So, what's wrong when I say if the article?
Nothing is wrong.
Okay.
I'm just saying that.
So, I've been right this whole time by doing that. Basically, what you're saying.
Okay, you've been right.
All right, man.
You like to agree to disagree. This is my thing. I don't like to weaponize agreeing and disagreeing.
Well, I don't do that. Okay. Is that how you feel? So I believe that's why.
You know, babe, I don't think that you are. I do think that I have relationships, friendships, or whatever, like, family, whatever, that say, well, we're just going to agree to disagree. And they not as emotionally intelligent in communication, I should say.
Yeah.
To say that.
Okay, that's fair. And with that, with you having that background of friends and family who use that as a weapon, when I use it, it feels as if it's a weapon.
It does.
Okay, that's fair. I get that.
Yeah.
So I guess moving forward, how do I conclude the argument, even though I don't disagree?
Even though you don't agree.
Yeah.
If you don't agree, babe, no, I mean, I don't know.
Nah.
I don't think that you should change the way you do it. I think that.
Well, no, I'm asking you because
we're learning.
It may be a better way to do it. So, what would you say would be the best way for me to conclude an argument or a heated debate or a way long going, like you like to draw out conversation?
I draw them out.
Yes, bro.
So here's the thing. I don't expect you to do it any certain kind of way.
Okay.
I think that primarily I want the understanding, right? That's all I'm asking for. Shout out to Escape. What I need from you.
Give me no copyright.
I know, right? So I think that the thing is, when I end conversations like that, I think my goal is to make sure you understand that I understand you.
Okay.
I get where you're coming from. I understand why you feel that way. I understand why what I said made you feel that way. I understand why what I did made you feel that way. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay.
So instead of it being I agree to disagree, I think it's I understand. However, when I did this, my perspective was this.
Okay. That's fair.
So okay. As long as we have the understanding, but saying that you agree to disagree, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think saying I agree to disagree as a weapon or as I'm not saying you do that, but for anybody in relationships, use it as a weapon. Most people do weaponize. We're gonna just agree to disagree, and that is let's conclude this conversation because we're never gonna come to an end.
And most people who say that, it's more of like,
I'm not trying to understand.
I'm not trying to understand where you're coming from, and what I say is
what I say is what it's gonna be.
That's fair.
And
that
what you say is what you're gonna be for you. What I'm saying is gonna be for me. And I think that's the problem. I never understand how people move forward with those kind of endings in conversation. because then that tells me that you're not trying to understand me and you don't care if I understand you.
Yeah.
And so maybe that's how you feel about this conversation.
Okay.
But for me, I'm looking at it deeper. You feel like that about this conversation, but now I got to question everything else that we ever been through or talked about or did or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's me, though.
Okay.
Because I'm a recovering overthinker.
A recovering overthinker, bro?
Yeah. I'm a recovering
Well, since when? I mean, when did you start recovering?
All
right,
in my 20s.
What's the next one?
Okay. So we talked about the intellectual boundaries.
Okay.
Physical and sexual boundaries we can talk about together. Why can't we talk about that one together? Because I see your face.
No, I'm trying to like piece them physical. And...
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what they say.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay, so physical boundaries help partners demarcate their personal space as well as communicate their preferences around physical touch. They also include aspects related to physical needs such as food, water, rest, and health. So physical would be anything that has anything to do with your body, yourself.
Of course.
Right?
Okay.
Sexual boundaries include your partner's needs and limitations related to sexual interactions. These can include factors such as how long into the relationship you want to be intimate, the types of contact you aren't comfortable with, where and when you feel most comfortable with intimacy. What was so funny for you?
No butt plugs. So that would be a boundary, right? That's a boundary for me.
Really?
No butt plugs.
Okay.
So while you was reading that too,
which part?
No, just the whole thing. Well, really just the whole conversation. I think a lot of people use boundary. I think boundaries is such a negative thing, you know, because when you think about a boundary, it's to keep out. You want to keep stuff out. I probably keep stuff in, right?
You restricted me.
You restricted. So, you know, restriction, boundary, sometimes that may come off as negative in a sense. So I look like that when you say physical boundaries. I'm like, what you mean? But we also talked about that in the car slightly. So I'm gonna ask you, what is a okay? So I guess with that too, I guess that's like some women, they don't like being touched on their butt in public. So that would be considered a physical or sexual boundary.
That's why I want to talk about them together because I think they kind of go hand in hand.
Okay. Shoot. What you thinking?
I think that boundaries is a good thing to talk about when you think about PDA. Right?
Yep.
Because for me, you know me, I don't not like to be touched on my butt in public. I feel like I think about my kids when we're in public. Okay. How would I feel if my kids were in this store and they saw this and this? Right?
So.
Not that I don't enjoy it. Yeah. But because I'm a mom, I try to be considerate.
You know, other people's kids.
Of other people's kids or their boundaries that they might have, you know? Like
other people are our kids. Other people's kids are our kids.
Other people's kids.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Like when I think about I'm in a public place, I think about the people that can see what's happening for this PDA. When I think about those people, I really could care less about adults who need to open their horizons, right? But I do think about my kids who I'm not ready to expose to those things or to certain things, I should say. So when I think about sexual advances as PDA, that's when I'm like, you know, if my daughter was in here public sexual event, like if two people come in here tonguing each other down, I want to do that with you.
Yeah.
But when I think about us being in public, the thing that shies me away from it is if somebody come down this aisle with their kid in a basket, you know, and they're like, yeah, I didn't expect to come down here and see two people tonguing each other down in the fucking in the freaking noodle aisle.
Yeah.
You know?
Right next to the ramen.
Right. And my child is asking for ramen noodles and we're going down the aisle.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about the idea of if that was my kid.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready to tell my 4-year-old son what that means that two people got their tongue in each other's mouth.
Yeah.
Or they kissing and holding each other booty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I never thought about it from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I was always trying to grab something, but I mean, even still, I always, um,
I guess because
kid,
we
I
do it at
always make we
home,
do.
though.
Yeah, that's the tough part. But I also, I'm still mindful of who's around.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't really go crazy. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
We don't do tongue action
Yeah,
in the
nah,
noodle aisle,
nah, nah.
but we will.
Yeah, or
I'm just
maybe
saying.
the dressing room, but not the noodle aisle of
The
anything.
dressing room is crazy.
Yeah, but not the noodle aisle. So I guess so that would be a boundary that we set for other people, or for other kids that may be
Yeah.
around. Okay, I get that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
Don't get it twisted though. We do it.
Mhm.
Quite frankly, honestly, we do it. Now we do have a good way of kind of paying attention to our surroundings and being like, well, there is a kid in the next aisle and their mama could come over here, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
Not saying that we like have conversations like, did you see that little baby over there? Like, let's do
yeah.
it
Let's
now
do
before
it.
they come.
Yeah,
It's literally like I think we just really have a good idea
yeah.
of that. And I mean, if I'm honest, we do it at home. Our boys are fully aware of daddy's
But we also set that boundary too
advances
that
to
we
mommy.
don't
That
go
sounds bad.
go to
Yeah.
we don't try to
Yeah.
expose them to so
Too
much.
much.
You
Yeah.
know
Like they know how much daddy loves mommy and the
the affection and love is there.
affection that daddy
Yeah,
can show.
yeah.
You know. Won't go too crazy, but I think
Yeah.
that it's there.
So let's talk about us or a married couple in general.
Sexual boundaries.
Sexual boundaries, right?
Uh-huh.
That can be a touchy one
Uh-huh.
because, especially in marriage, when somebody get married, they use this whole what's that Bible verse? My wife's body. What is it? What the wife's body is? You know what I'm saying? What is
Let
that?
me look that
Yeah,
up.
let's look that up. Let's give them a
Let
little
me
church.
find out. Let's take him to church.
Yeah, it's something like the woman's body is no longer hers, or something like that. Right? Look that up
Okay, I'm gonna look that up.
because I hear that a lot. I ain't gonna say what rapper says it a lot, but I think you know who I'm talking about. But so which one is that?
Oh, 1 Corinthians 7. Let's see.
Take
Okay,
out a
so First
text.
Corinthians 7, verse 3.
Mm-hmm.
The husband should fulfill his marital duty to his wife, and likewise the wife to her husband.
Mm-hmm.
The wife's body, verse 4 says, the wife's body does not belong to her alone,
Amen.
but also to her husband.
Okay.
In the same way, the husband's body does not belong to him alone, but also to his wife.
Oh, I know you had two parts of that.
Oh, you didn't know the husband's body wasn't his either. You wanted me to read the wife part.
Yeah, you went too far. You went too far.
That whole verse.
So
what was
that?
the whole verse?
What was
4.
that? Corinthians.
1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 4.
Through what? That was just 4.
No, that was verse 4. The husband and the wife.
They ain't even
was in the
separate the
same.
verses. Okay.
Okay, so first of all, I really want you all to sound off in the comments about your beliefs with that as well.
Yeah.
I think that that's an important topic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, what if there's something that I or a husband wanted to explore with his wife, right? And she has that boundary of whatever. How does that work?
Okay.
Or what would that conversation be like? Let's just use an example.
Okay.
Suppose I want to bring a monkey in the bedroom.
A monkey?
You know what I'm saying? Bring a monkey,
Babe, you could have just said another woman. Just say it. Because a monkey?
No, monkey.
An animal?
All right. Let's not use that. Well, let's not use that. Let's just say I wanted to.
Animal?
Let's just say I want to bring a certain
animal.
Let's just say toy. I don't use no other individual. A certain toy.
Animal. Okay, a toy. Okay.
A certain toy or a certain outfit or a certain outfit that you wanted her to wear, and she
wear
just
some patent leather.
Hell no, bro. That shit be too hot, too sweaty. Nah, I'm good. Bro.
Okay.
Or you know what I'm saying? You can use a whip. So does a person or does that husband or wife compromise their boundary with that to satisfy their husband or their spouse? Or when does that boundary?
Hold on, let me read the sexual intimacy
definition
read
that.
before we
move forward.
Go into that. It says These can include factors such as how long into the relationship you want to be intimate, types of contact you are uncomfortable with, and where and when they feel most comfortable with intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Your needs and limitations related to sexual interactions. Okay. So, okay, I love that.
Okay.
You, just because, I think that what I'm getting from that is just because you requested doesn't mean that you can push my limits. Does that make sense? If I set a boundary on my limitations, doesn't mean that I have to honor your request.
No, not at all.
So I think that that's what they're saying. Like, I feel like if you have a request and it goes against the boundaries that I set for, or vice versa, if I have a request about, butt action or, bringing a certain toy that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
That makes you feel uncomfortable into the bedroom, and you have limitations and boundaries around that, then.
So I think, so where does that trouble start? Does it?
Oh, you think it'll cause trouble?
I think I think it all depends on the. How can I put it? I think it all depends on how the situation happened, how the circumstances happen. If you just in the mood with the missus, whatever, and you pull out something that they don't want you to use, wear, whatever, then it's like, whoa, hold on, I don't want to do that. Then it may seem as if it's a form of rejection.
Ooh.
So what I think the best way to prevent that is to possibly have that conversation beforehand. So I guess like that's why these that's why those kind of conversations are important to have before you put yourself in a position to be rejected. So I guess when do those conversations need to happen?
Oh, that's a good question.
To be like, hey, I don't know. I mean, maybe at dinner or whatever. But
that's tough.
What you think?
That's
when
tough.
should those conversations happen? Because it also depends on who you are as a person, as far as how are you with. I know for me, I'm not really the best with rejection. So, and I'm also, I mean, not no more when it comes to, stuff outside of sex that I may ask for. I'm getting a little better with that. So it's kind of hard to even bring those conversations up. So how would you say, what would be the best way for a person to start off? Just use yourself as an example. If you want to try something new in the bed, you want to try something new in our lifestyle, the way we live, whatever. How do you bring up those boundaries that you have with me?
If I'm using myself for an example.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the best time is typically after we are intimate.
After?
Immediately after. We have the best conversations.
So, before I try something new, or
no, because I feel like, okay, so I feel like,
I don't think after.
Are we being PG?
Oh, we don't have to, no.
Okay, so let's just say after our sexual encounters, right? So let's just say it's just me and you. We having our regular, good, wonderful sexual encounter.
Yeah.
And when we stop and we have those conversations after.
Yeah, man, get out.
I feel like those are kind of times where we have our best conversations about what the next time could entail, or what we're realizing that we like, or like those are usually the best times, or what we want to introduce. Yeah, so I'm not saying that we
do post-cum clarity, as they call it, post-nut clarity.
Post-cum clarity.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to. Kind of sound a little weird, but okay, post-nut clarity, whatever.
Post-nut clarity.
Yeah.
Wow, I never heard that.
You never heard that?
Post-nut clarity.
Oh, maybe it's the guy thing.
Nah, y'all don't got no post-nut clarity, because the way that they be getting caught up with them pictures going to sleep, they clearly don't have the clarity.
No. That's like, it's a guy thing. But go ahead.
You know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
When I say it clearly isn't there.
But once that happens, so post-nut clarity is a stage. Like, you would do something, you would masturbate before you do something dumb. So after you,
but when they be going to sleep after they cheat on
nah, it's too
people,
late. It's too late for that.
That's
It's too late.
dumb.
It's too late for that because by the time you already got off, when you wake up, like, ah, oh, damn, man, I didn't do this. It's too late.
No,
ain't no clarity there.
The post nut clarity would make me think that you wouldn't do anything that stupid to begin with.
No.
You're not clear at that point.
Nah.
You didn't get the clarity you needed.
Yeah, so they skipped that step. Like they skip post nut clarity. So
what I'm referring to.
Let me give you a perfect example.
Let me tell them what I'm referring to.
Go ahead.
We were talking about this recently because he said, I don't understand how dudes be cheating or like they get caught up in a bed with somebody who was a forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
After they have sex and they nut.
Yeah.
And they go to sleep and get caught on camera.
Yeah, that's like the dumbest, bro. I don't understand that, dog, at all. But so post nut clarity, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you're a married guy and you're on your way to go kick it with the side chick. Mm-hmm. What the post nut clarity stage is before, or even if you that kind of guy.
Post is after.
So what is it? What is pre?
Pre.
No.
It's before.
No, okay, no. So listen to me. Hear me out. Post is after, right? Mm-hmm. So you say you're a married guy. You hop in the whip. Or matter of fact, you at home getting dressed. The wife out of town, kids out of town, whatever. What the post nut clarity stage is, if you're in the shower, you're a guy. You're in the shower on your way there. You masturbate, and then after you masturbate and you come or whatever, that's when the clarity kicks in. That's when the post nut clarity kicks in. So by that time, like, oh man, I can't do this to my wife. I can't go out and cheat on her. That's when, okay, he won't do it. So that's why I said
he's not gonna do it.
He's not gonna do it. That's what post nut clarity is.
Okay.
That's what that is. That's why I say it's a guy thing, man. You know, it's a secret code.
Okay. So tell me about post nut clarity after you have had sex with your wife.
Post nut clarity.
That's when you have those conversations.
Okay.
Or after you make up and shit, right?
Yeah. Yeah. What about it? Would you ask me? You asked me.
Well, something? So you were talking about the idea. So I was saying that's when I feel like we can talk about the sexual boundaries and the things that you want to introduce.
But I'm saying, what if bro pull up in the room and he want to use like a whip or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, no, because we have to talk about. I feel like those conversations are best had after we've had our.
But what if he wanted to do it surprise? So what if What if what if for whatever reason the woman has a past trauma of being hit in a belt? Maybe she got a lot of ass whoopings when she was younger. And Buddy, they in the mood, and Buddy pulls out a leather belt and he starts hitting her. That's, you know what I'm saying? It's like you gotta have that conversation before, not after.
So that's what I'm saying. If you do that beforehand, regardless of when you have the conversation, it sounds like you're saying that he's not talking about having that conversation. And I think that communication.
He may want to be spontaneous, you know.
I think that's not spontaneity.
That is.
No,
what is it?
I think that's a surprise.
What the hell is spontaneous? Being spontaneous means being surprised. He's like, oh, I'm surprised you never did that before.
No, I mean, because so when I think about spontaneity in a marriage, I think about just doing things like differently than what you typically do. But that doesn't mean that you don't have to communicate and talk about it. And I think that especially once you get to a certain point, like once you are in marriage, right? Like after you've already courted and dated.
Yeah.
And you're now married. And you get to a place where you get to say, we got to spice things up.
Yeah.
I think that, that's where the spontaneity come in. Hey, we're going to do something a little different. We're going to role play. We're going to do something a little different. We're going to drop the kids off. But you see how I told you first?
Yeah. Okay.
We're gonna do something a little different. We're gonna go to, the mountains and rent a cabin, and it's gonna be me and you, and we're gonna do something outside. That's spontaneity.
Okay.
To me.
Okay.
I think that you whipping out some shit. I'm gonna honestly like. Do you want to have a conversation before or after? Because after, I'm gonna ask you, when did you start liking this?
Yeah.
How did you start liking this? Why did you start? I got questions. Who, what, when, where, why?
Yeah.
Who, what, when, where, why?
Or what you watched or whatever case may be.
Who? Because, you could tell me who you watched.
Well, yeah, you know, I don't know.
Who, what, when,
I'm
where,
not
why?
into whips and all that stuff, by the way,
Yeah,
guys. That's
yeah.
damn sure ain't hit me with it. So
I mean, it's
it
not.
ain't hit me with it. And no way,
The
buddy.
paddle.
No, sir, buddy. I ain't even get on like that in school
Oh, that's hilarious.
with that shit. So
Okay. All right. I like that one.
yeah.
Okay. Time boundaries mean respecting each other's time.
Okay.
They can also include setting limits on how often you and your partner see each other, how you like to spend time together. Protecting your time can include not feeling obligated to spend every waking moment with your partner. I like this one
Okay.
because I think that this is something that people often disregard in marriage.
Time.
Time boundaries. Because I mean, to
Time.
be quite frank, and especially where the world is now,
Mm-hmm.
everybody working from home together,
Yeah.
raising kids together,
Yeah.
like doing activities. We do everything together,
Yeah.
right? So that kind of makes you like, because okay, so time boundaries. Let's talk about it for a second.
Okay. Yeah. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. I know where
Let's
you're
talk
going.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that thing said something about the article said something about spending every waking moment together.
Okay.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
not get tired of me?
Nah, like honestly, in my in my head, I was gonna say we
Oh, wait,
we,
wait,
we
wait.
talked about it before. Go
Let
ahead.
me ask this question differently.
Yeah.
At what points do you get tired of me? When and what moments are they? I had to ask an open-ended question instead of a closed-ended one.
Okay. I didn't get the difference. But
Well, I didn't want to ask a yes or no question. I wanted to ask you
yeah,
a open-ended question where you had to really go into detail.
for sure. Honestly, you know, we talk about this all the time. I don't really get tired of you. You know, as far as time we spend together, stuff not for real. Um, the only thing I would say, and you know, just you know, when I'm locked in the studio, all right, Rishi, get your butt down.
Right.
He can't even be nice. I tried to get him up here. He
We
wanted to.
throwing him down.
He gotta lay down.
Mhm.
Sit, Reese, peace. But to answer your question, now I don't really get tired of you like that. You know, to be honest, even if I'm out of town, I'm like, all right, I gotta help him get back because you know we just you know I think the chemistry between us is always solid. It's always been that way. I think we learned that in the pandemic. You know, we saw most of the people divorced, got into it. They realized they didn't like their person. I feel like in the pandemic we learned so much more about each other because honestly we were just you know we were always on the move with the kids, especially with Zamira with everything we had going on with her. We was always on go. Pandemic was the only time we was able to just sit and just be with us, be with each other,
And just be.
and just be. So, um, I don't you know I don't really feel like I don't really feel like a boundary per se is needed, but
For
just like
time.
for time. But other than when I'm in the studio and stuff like that, then it's just like you know, and even with that, I don't mind you being in there. You know, we be kicking it. I do my thing, you do your thing while you behind me, you know, whatever, sit on the couch. But that's really the only boundary I have.
What is that? What you said it's the only boundary. What's that only boundary? When you working?
Um, what you mean? Like, what is that?
No, you said that's the only boundary I have. What is the only boundary you have?
Just you know, when I'm in that, you know me, when I'm in that work mode,
Mm-hmm.
you know, let me be in that work mode. But I don't know. Even during the work mode, when I'm in the studio and stuff like that, I still like having you around. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't really, you know, had one of those damn. I'm always around her. She was around me kind of moments. You know what I'm saying? So, and I think it really stems from you understanding and knowing what I do. And I think you willingly give me that space. So we never really had that problem as far as space amongst each other and things like that. And you know, I love having you around. So I really ain't really, you know.
Yeah. So let's talk about time boundaries from the perspective of this, because I think that this is where people's hangups are in relationships and marriage, which
Okay.
is time for self.
Okay.
And so for us in our marriage, if we're being honest, you don't take a lot of time for self.
Right.
And that's something that we kind of talked about a lot recently.
Yeah,
most
yeah.
recently on our most recent date night the
Yep.
other night.
Mm-hmm.
That we gonna work on and figure out what that looks like for you.
For sure.
But for me, I have great groups of friends. He has great groups of friends too.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. It's just they all the same. They none of them really take a lot of time for themselves.
Yeah.
But a lot of his friends are married to my friends, and we take some time. Okay.
Yeah, they take some time.
We take some time. Self-care is important. And I think the time for self, time for our other relationships, like our friends and our family, our moms, our siblings, our cousins, like things like that. It's important to me, and I want him to hone in on how important it is to him for those other relationships, but most importantly for himself, the things that he wants to do.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, I think that that's something that I really cannot wait for you to, improve on and update the podcast on and the audience on, so that they can kind of understand what that looks like for you, what that'll look like for themselves. Because when I think about time boundaries, that's one of the things that comes to mind. It's the time for self.
Yeah.
Even if that's not hanging out with other people, even if that means that, you're just taking time to go get you a massage, or go, get you some nature time, or, go get you some food or whatever, like going to the gym. Which I do. The gym, I will say,
the gym
is something
is
that
like,
you do.
The gym is probably like the only place that I can really like feel not guilty. And you know what it is?
Time,
so I'll say the gym is like the only place I can go and feel not guilty for being out and alone, because I know this is my thought process. I know my health benefits you guys. So what I have
so
to
it's still about us.
So I guess I have to figure out the boundary on how to separate doing stuff for myself and only for me, versus doing things for myself that benefits the family. And it could honestly tie together, but I know for a fact I need to start doing more things with myself, by myself,
for yourself,
for myself. Yeah. So
yeah.
And I'll be honest, I do feel guilty sometimes, stepping away for a long period of time, because I always worry about, what you got going on.
What you mean by long periods of time? Because sometimes I just be like, you was only gone for 2 hours. Why you feel so guilty? I get it though. Yeah. It's something that
it could just be, I think in totality, a lot of that stems from the mirror journey. You know what I'm saying?
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, we talk about that another time. But I think a lot of that stems from that.
Yeah.
So I just always want to make sure, and separate from that, I just always want to make sure, you good. I'm not saying that I don't think you can't handle it or take care of it, but that's another thing, that we talked about with my therapist. It's a protection thing. So yeah. So that's something I'm working on. Yeah. That's something I'm sure I'll get better with throughout the process.
Yeah. And we'll hone in on it a lot more too.
Yeah. So is there more?
There are 2 more.
Okay, what's the last 2?
Communication boundaries and material boundaries are the last 2. So communication boundaries, which we'll have a episode about communication as a whole.
Definitely.
Communication boundaries can be set to better manage conflicts and arguments. May include rules such as no name calling, no bringing up past arguments, no leaving abruptly in the middle of arguments, etc.
Yeah.
I don't think we have too many problems with those things.
Yeah.
But I do think that communication boundaries is still important, even if it's not to that extreme.
I will say, we don't have a problem or an issue with bringing up past arguments or past situations.
Yeah.
But I do feel when we get into a situation or debate that stems from a past situation, then I think unintentionally we talk about past situations and stuff like that.
But I don't think it's about bringing up past arguments. I think that kind of is. A lot of times we use
our
those
past
as
feelings,
an example.
Our past feelings, for sure.
Yeah. I think that we're usually like, kind of like the last time, and it becomes an example. In this one, I wonder if I think that you all should sound off in the comments about this as well. Does that mean that you're bringing up past things?
What's that?
If you are discussing things and using something that has happened as an example, right?
Okay.
A past conversation or argument or situation.
Yeah.
As an example in a current debate or a current conversation or a current argument.
Yeah.
Does that mean, dang, you're bringing up old stuff? Or does that mean I would like to utilize that moment to let you know about this moment? Mm-hmm. I want to know if that is the same thing. Man. Does it mean you're bringing up old stuff and you can't get over it? Because I feel like a lot of times we get over stuff. We don't have a problem with that.
Get over what?
We get over things. Like, we don't carry things.
Okay.
We don't hold on to stuff. Do we? You feel like we do?
We don't. I don't even know how to word it. Let's just say we have some lingering. Mm-hmm. We have a few lingering feelings about past situations that we may bring into whatever the situation.
Because they're unresolved.
Because they're unresolved.
If things go unresolved,
or if it's a trigger. It don't have to be unresolved. It could be something that if it's a trigger, then I think we have those triggers that triggers you back to, you know what I'm saying, a situation that was uncomfortable that you didn't like.
So that means that that's not lingering. It's just a trigger for the person.
It's a lingering feeling with those triggers, though, ain't it?
But, I mean, quite frankly, people use a lot of different... People can have a lot more extreme situations that are triggers for them. And to be quite frank, it's like, yeah, I'm over it. And I don't like... I'm just using like a friendship, for example.
Yeah.
I'm over what this person did to me. And I love her, from afar. But some things might trigger me from what that person did to me.
Gotcha.
So I don't think that that's a lingering thing. I think that that's just a trigger. It's two different things. So I'll say that I don't think that we have an issue with that.
Yeah.
I do say that, and I want to know how other people feel about that. But when a situation is brought back up as an example, right? So if we talking, and I be like, well, I'm gonna just use a hypothetical situation. The dog's sitting right here, and let's just say Reese. You were saying like, Reese needs to get out the room.
Yeah.
And I would be like, well, Reese, it's fine right here. He's not doing nothing. And then you would say, every time
you always saying something,
right? The last time we had a conversation about Reese, you put him in your lap, and we was talking, and this, and then. But I feel like you just using that as an example. I don't think that you didn't get over the last time I put Reese in a room. I think that it's just like, for example, Reese always do this, and this is what you do when Reese do it.
Okay, that's fair. I guess that makes sense.
But I feel like other people might, you or anybody else might look at that. Like, for me, I do bring up some stuff, but I bring it up as an example. I do that.
Okay.
In our conversation, don't I?
Yeah, that's true.
And you be like, we ain't talking about that. And I'm like, I know we're not talking about that, but I'm just saying. The last time we did talk about that.
Yeah.
And if I need to work on that, I understand.
Well, no, I don't honestly think it's a problem, to be honest.
Yeah.
I guess it just depends on who's receiving it on the other hand, who may have that problem.
Yeah. The last one was material boundaries. I don't know if you want to.
Oh, shit.
Material boundaries are linked to personal possessions and finances. You can choose the degree to which you are comfortable sharing your possessions and finances with your partner.
I don't think so.
Oh, wait. Why are you thinking so hard? What did I say?
Yeah, read that again. Read that again.
Material boundaries are linked to personal possessions and finances.
Okay.
You can choose the degree to which you are comfortable sharing your possessions and finances with your partners.
So we don't have any issue. We never had no issue sharing.
You like to share your toothbrush?
That's like
you like to share your deodorant?
Man, that's like you use my deodorant.
I do use your deodorant.
I think.
Do y'all use your deodorant?
Some of that stuff. Yeah. Do y'all let me know in the comments. Do y'all use? I know y'all can't use y'all spouse's toothbrush. That's kind of wild. But deodorant and all that, I'm sure y'all share deodorant. So
seen one of y'all favorite.
Let us know in the comments if y'all share deodorant.
I've seen one of your favorite reality stars use their partner's toothbrush.
I mean,
on
you
reality
gotta
TV.
set a boundary somewhere, bro. It's
That's
like,
a boundary. I like it.
but I mean, that's an unspoken boundary.
It's
That
an unspoken boundary for who? For you?
people with black parents. I say that. People with black parents. I say that. So, but yeah, we never had no problems with finance and stuff like that.
Yeah. Have
A boundary, man. At this point,
issues with
it is
boundaries.
just what it
Yeah.
is. If I'm being honest,
I don't think it's been issues with boundaries. I mean, we've had like
I've
different
had
perspectives.
issues, and man, forget all that. Different perspectives.
What is it?
I would say,
we have different perspectives about finances.
Let's talk about the Target runs, like Target runs and the store runs.
Boundaries.
I'm gonna be honest, bro. I don't even think that's one of them boundaries you can even set realistically with women. If I'm being honest,
I'm gonna set a boundary right here, and we're not gonna talk about that.
That's probably the best boundary you can set when it comes to that.
Boundary that anybody can have.
I think some boundaries you just, as a married couple, man, just like you can talk about it. Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Yeah,
the Target and all that stuff. I don't know.
Target runs.
But
your Target run now is not me.
Yeah. So our daughter is the one who does.
I'm so glad that you understood that.
Yeah, Zoelle is the one who, I don't know, man.
I don't know either.
Devil's advocate, should there be a boundary there
for
Target runs, for women with Target runs? Do you feel like y'all should have? Does a woman have to watch what she spends when she goes to Target?
No.
Why not?
Because Target has all of the necessities. You only get what you need.
I will truly and honestly say
that
you
don't understand.
I don't understand, but you get, I would say, 40% of the things that we need. The other 60 we don't need. You and Zoelle want.
What? Give me an example.
Zoelle wants extra face cleanser stuff.
Skincare is self-care, and she needs to understand what that is.
And she can't even use some of the stuff that she gets the majority of the time.
If there's anything that she can't use, it's because it was a gift. It was never because we bought it.
So when y'all go to Target, y'all buy Starbucks that Zoe doesn't need, that she wants, that she doesn't finish.
This is going too far.
Man, listen, bro.
This is going too far.
So is it? So what we're doing is we're agreeing to disagree at this moment.
We're setting a communication boundary about what Target entails.
Bro, please. I know what Target entails. I don't know what.
So in this case, I plead the fifth. So.
Yeah.
No, for real though. No, in all actuality and honesty, I think that because I understand the boundaries around finances and materials.
That's a whole other podcast right there, bro.
It is. We're going to talk about it. But when I think about the boundaries set with it, I've gotten better with understanding those boundaries. And I think that most of the things that I get are necessity. Now, I think that my husband will argue that, is it a necessity for right now? Was it needed today? Did you have to get that in this moment? I think that that's fair and it's valid.
Yeah.
But it was needed at some point, and so I decided to get it today.
Yeah, and that's not, and I can honestly say, that's why I don't put too much of a fight up no more, because most of the things you do get are things we need. We may not need it right now, and I'm like, it's kind of pointless to have right now. But for the most part, it pays off a week or two later.
At some point.
It depends, like we'll get, I don't know, go to the store and get 2 bottles of wine, sometimes that don't last the whole day. Sometimes it lasts for the next 3 to 5 days. If it lasts 3 to 5 days, we got an extra bottle here if we need to use it, and I ain't got to go to the store and get it.
Oh my God.
So, but if it's in the same day when her friends come by and it's gone, that's when I'm thinking like, you ain't really need 2 bottles.
I've never heard you say things like this. It really turns me on.
What? About the bottles?
About my wine.
What about it?
I get it. It's okay. 3 bottles of wine, it's okay. Is that really
If only if
makes me want to jump your bones.
Only if it extends past the first 2 hours that you got it.
Well, because I have company.
Man, they bring their own bottles, bro. I'm talking about bottles.
But I'm the hostess with the mostest. They can't bring their own bottles.
Okay.
I mean, they can, but we're gonna drink those too.
Yeah, all right. But
and typically, if they do this, because they're bringing it because they are good guests, and we're gonna hold on to them. But the wine that I bought, we're gonna drink.
All right. Okay. So that was the last one, right?
That was.
So that was pro.
I think it was good.
It was good.
I think that a lot of them definitely trigger other conversations that we got to have, like the financial,
for sure,
communication, sexual intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be so many more episodes that I know that you all are going to love, that you all are going to look forward to for us to have.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say this is a great fly on the wall perspective of conversations that we always have anyway.
This is a great conversation to set the tone, because
you
think about it, these are all things wrapped around. What's the word I'm looking for? What's the
marriage, relationships?
No. What are we talking about today, bro?
Boundaries.
It's all shaped and it's all around boundaries. So I think it was pretty good. So, do you have any last remarks or anything you want to add?
No, I'm just looking forward to everything that Forever has in store.
It's gonna be pretty fun, man.
Yeah.
Like I said, like we said, been a long time coming.
Yeah.
We gonna keep it authentic, keep it raw. Keep it solid.
Keep it real. I love it.
So
make sure you stay tuned in. Comment, subscribe, like the video, share, tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
I'm Nene. That's Mook.
Mook.
We love y'all.
Love y'all. We out.